What's up, Giants fans, Hub watchers, Kid Blue watchers, Entertainer watchers, Twitter and
New
Instagram
York Giant
followers,
watchers.
New York
Yes.
Giants fans, any random New York Jets fans that are coming in here. We got some occasional Washington football or Washington communist fans in here as well. Some Cowboy fans and even a couple Eagle fans tune in every now and then. How are you all doing, man? Welcome in. Thank you guys for tuning in. First off, shout out to everybody in the chat real quick. We got 4 early people: Duran, Giants 26, Nate, and R0B. Shout out to R0B and Pest. I know they were just having their own stream as well. It's always a pleasure to both watch those guys, be on their show, and even be in the chat. It's really fun. And of course, as you can see, we got a very special guest today. We got Chris, the Entertainer Talking Sports, coming over. It was great to meet up with Chris once again at training camp yesterday. I'm pretty sure we're gonna see.
You coming to Fanfest?
Yeah, I tweeted out today, man. My boss was so chill with it. I was like, hey, can I just come into work on Saturday? Because I got this thing I want to go to on Friday. And he's a really chilled. He's actually a big Giants fan as well. So he was like, yeah, bro, for sure, go for it. I was like, okay, that's what's up, man. Thank you. I didn't expect it to be that chill, but I know he's a huge Knicks fan and he's a huge Giants fan. So like, whenever
Does he know of your channel? Does he know?
Oh yeah, he's actually subscribed to my
that's
channel.
cool.
Yeah, that's how.
Cool.
That's another story, but like
Shout out to Cush's boss.
Yeah, whenever I'm working and like he's around, bro, he'd randomly strike up a conversation like, "Yo, the Donovan Mitchell trade." He strike up a conversation. Did you see Kenny Golladay had a good day today and stuff like that? So it's pretty cool, yeah. But man, Chris, how you doing, man? We will be seeing each other again on FanFest, so definitely looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. Glad to be back on YouTube. Took a break, kind of like Kid Blue. I saw Kid Blue say that on Twitter too, and I'm like,
oh, I took a break. Yeah, I took like a 2-month hiatus too, man.
Yeah, he's like, I needed to take a break, and I did the same thing the last 2 years. I just need to. I'm not trying to force content, trying to like mentally prepare for the season.
Exactly.
And recuperate from the previous season because it's usually bad. It's always bad recently with the Giants since I've been on YouTube, but I'm excited to be back, man. I'm excited to be going to training camp and. Yeah, man, getting a preview what this team's going to look like this year and hopefully much brighter future for this Giants football team.
Oh, for sure. Go ahead, KB.
No, man. I'm glad, like exactly what Chris said. Glad to be back on it, like back on the grind, back to the usual way. I honestly like miss this kind of thing with talking Giants football, seeing the Giants practice and things like that. It just feels good to get back in the groove of things, especially with some good news that we'll talk about later on, just like some good training camp news and things like that. But yeah, I'm excited to get back onto it, man. You guys are gonna enjoy FanFest. I'm there in spirit, man. I'm there in spirit.
You can never come up to FanFest. Well, I don't blame you. They always have it on a weekday.
He's got an excuse, man.
Yeah,
that's true.
I'm definitely going up for a game. I think I already got approved for the weekend of the Chicago game. So if you guys are coming,
that's the game I'm going to. So that's perfect.
So I know Kush was talking about that too, right? The Chicago game.
But it's looking like I would have to switch that because I wanted to go to the Dallas game, but I'm not mad if I go to the Chicago game because I know that's the legacy game. I wish the thing is though, I'm pretty sure
they're doing the Ring of Honor there, man.
Yeah, they're doing that too. So like I'm pretty sure even if I go on like SeatGeek, for example, right now or Ticketmaster, the primetime game is probably already sold out if I'm being honest with you. Like it's really hard to get tickets for primetime games. So it's looking like Chicago might be what I switch to if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, and I just feel like it's better for like a tailgate setting as opposed to Monday Night Football because a lot of people got work the next morning.
Mm-hmm.
So I just felt like it would be more even though I prefer the Cowboys game, I just think it'd be more convenient to go to the Bears game. That's why I chose that one.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of want a chance to win as well, so
that helps.
God, I'm tired of going all the way up there to lose.
What you mean by that, bro? Listen, bro.
Crazy. I think we have a chance to beat Dallas.
I was about to say Mike McCarthy could be doing some Mike McCarthy things,
bro,
man.
I went up there for the Jets game and we lost. Okay, I'm looking for the best. I'm looking for the best possible freaking outcome.
Well, you picked it. I think that is the best possible one of.
Yeah.
It's so funny. I was on Twitter Space literally yesterday, and we were talking about a similar topic to this, just like the schedule. And I'm like, I hope people realize. As much as I am an optimist for the Giants, I still hope people realize that every other team on our schedule, like all of our opponents, they view us as a W until we tell them that we're not a W. Including Chicago, especially if you look at Chicago fans on Twitter, they're, for some reason, because I agree with you guys, I think it's an easier game on the schedule, but they really think that they could beat us this year.
I don't blame them. We suck. I mean, we haven't been able to win. When's the last time? I think 6 games is our high since we made the playoffs. So,
and the last time we beat Chicago was 2018, I think. It was Saquon's rookie year, I want to say.
Yeah, well, we won 6 games the first year with Joe Judge, right?
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I was talking about Chicago specifically. Last time we beat them because
The last time we beat
it was like
Chicago. Yeah,
2018, right? Because
That
we
was the game
faced
where
them
Zeke
like
had the
basically
150
every
yards
year
or
for the
something.
past 4 years or something, which is kind of crazy, kind of funny.
Yeah.
It's like a
But
little rivalry there.
It's like how Tampa is. Yeah, we're always facing Tampa too.
But you're right. I mean, when you're a fan of a team, you're going to look at your schedule and you're going to be a little bit biased. And we see the Texans, we see the Lions, we see the Bears, we see the Panthers, and we say, all right, we can win those games. But like you said, they're saying the same thing about us.
Exactly. Let me
That's
just give
true.
quick shout outs to everybody in chat. We got a good amount of people in here. Lat08, Lestat, Stan, King Sean, a fellow Washington Communist fan in the chat. Afghanistan, Alex, John Doe, Evan, Bookend Tackles. Man, everybody tuning out tonight. Luann, Ryan, Authentic. What's up, man? How you doing? And let's go ahead and start off with day 6 of training camp, which was yesterday. Today was day 7. It was supposed to be the second day of pad practice, but very early on, they kind of took off the pads. I guess day balls giving the guys somewhat of a rest, giving them a little time off, which I'm sure you read the Xavier McKinney article. Very enlightening to a good amount of stuff that was happening last year and the year before. And immediately when I heard that they had the pads off, I was in the stands and I read it on Twitter. The thing that popped up was when McKinney said he would tell Joe Judge or whatever coach he's telling, like, yo, yeah, we're kind of feeling a little bit tired or maybe a little bit gassed, and then he wouldn't change the practice at all. So shout out to Brian Dable for doing that, man, kind of adapting a little bit. But go ahead, Chris, start us off, man.
As far as training camp goes so far, I mean, listen, I can't really compare it to a Joe Judge training camp because we couldn't go because of the pandemic. But we heard all the stories about Joe Judge and how he made him run a ton of laps. It just seems like a more player-friendly environment. For example, I think it was the first practice. It came out that they were playing Kadarius Toney's song on the loudspeaker.
That's so cool, man.
Like it just seems like a more player-friendly environment so far. And I don't want to read too much into it because it's training camp. But, the 2 times I've gone, I'm more so looking at and I talked about this with Pest and Rob. I'm more so looking at the new playbook, the new scheme. What's the offense doing? What's the defense doing? People are going to get hung up on the quarterback stats. They're going to say, oh, my God, Daniel Jones was only 6 for 13 today and he threw 2 picks. It's freaking practice. That's the way I look at it. I don't care if it was Eli.
Thank you.
It could be freaking, Dan Marino. I understand that Giants fans are going to be antsy because it's year 4. It's a prove-it year, and a lot of Giants fans want to move off of Jones. I understand all that. I am not going to be a guy that's going to overreact over training camp practices where they're trying to work on things. Dable even came out after the fact and said that they basically told Jones on an interception a lot of fans went crazy about to throw it up and give the DBs an opportunity to make a play. So I'm not going to be a guy that gets too high or too low in terms of player performance from within a practice. But the thing that has jumped off the page to me in the first practice I went to, it was even more so in the first, just because I guess it was my first time experiencing the new offense. I mean, it is night and day in terms of the creativity, in terms of the way that they're using these weapons. It's constant motion. They use Wan'Dale Robinson a ton in the backfield. And Barkley, man, constantly in motion. It looks like they're going to use him very creatively this year in the passing game. So I've been really impressed with just the what I think is going to be a much more creative offensive approach, which we kind of knew, but it's just exciting when you see it in person. And on the defensive side, and you were there yesterday with me, Hub, so you saw it too, I'm sure. But the defense, man, it's as advertised. They were blitzing the hell out of the New York Giants offensive line. I actually think the Giants offensive line, granted it's without pads for the most part, based off the fact that it's a 3rd and long situation in terms of the simulation. They know you have to throw, and they're sending 6-7 guys every play. There was at least 4 or 5 instances where I thought the Giants offensive line did a really good job overall as a unit in terms of, holding up the blitz. Evan Neal has definitely stood out. A lot of people have said that in terms of a negative light his last 3 or 4 practices. And it's true. When you watch the highlight clips, he's definitely getting beat off the edge. I am chalking that more up to he's a rookie. He's also learning a different blocking scheme. And a lot of people may not realize that's probably pretty complicated. Going from the collegiate ranks to the NFL, we saw how long it took Andrew Thomas to get adjusted. I think it'll be quicker for Neal. 1, because he's playing on the right side. 2, because he doesn't have a hurt foot, which is what we found out about Andrew Thomas after the fact. And they went through like 3 different offensive line coaches that year. Between the original offensive line coach, Joe Judge ended up being the coach for a bit. Then they went to what's his name? I know they went from Colombo and then they brought
Guglielmo.
Yeah,
Guglielmo. Yeah. So he just had so many, So Bobby Johnson obviously is kind of in sync.
And Chris,
Dable.
you saw it yesterday too. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But Bobby Johnson is heavily involved in everything they're doing on the field.
Heavily involved.
That man. I mean, he's the coach you notice the most, even more than Dayball. Probably because he's always wearing that gray sweater that you see the sweat marks. But he's in the middle of the field with the guys. He was even kneeling down with the guys. He doesn't move from the field. You see him out there. I'm not like, listen, I just noticed it. That's what I'm saying. Not saying it's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm hoping it's a good thing, but I noticed it.
Did you see Dable and Wink got into it a little bit?
They did because and we'll talk about that
too close to DJ, right?
Yeah, the guys were getting too close to DJ. This is just my opinion. I think the easiest way to solve that was to actually start calling sacks, because I don't know if you saw this as well, Chris, with the second and third team, because I agree with you. The first team offensive line, the starting offensive line, I think did an incredible job. There was a lot of really good blitz pickups that if it was like, say, last year's offensive line, the quarterback would have gotten killed. I'm really liking what I'm seeing from our starting offensive line. There was a drop-off in performance, in my opinion, when you got to the second line and the third one, and that's where most of the getting to the quarterback stuff was happening. You're seeing guys off the edge. Quincy Rochet, I saw, got in the backfield. Ellerson Smith got in the backfield. I think even Ellis got in the backfield one point. Jihad Ward, I think, might also got in the backfield.
Damn, everybody.
Everybody was getting in the backfield, and the thing is, they were getting there really quickly. Like, they were beating these backup tackles or coming from the inside super quickly, so they were getting to the QBs quickly. But they're not calling sacks, so they're just kind of in the area, and the QB still makes the throw. So that's why I'm like, I was kind of I don't mean to pick a side, but I'm like, I feel for Wink, because like, what is Wink supposed to do? If his guys are getting there, they're getting there, but the refs aren't calling the sacks because that's not the drill. The drill is like honestly, it was for the DBs versus the corners was what they would look like they were doing.
Yeah.
Go
I'll say
go ahead.
Man. Tony and Wan'Dale Robinson are going to be fun this year.
I think they're going to be a real problem in the NFL, man. I mean,
they're going to be fun this year.
Y'all know I'm a huge fan of Kadarius Toney.
I don't know how they're going to split the reps there, because we obviously need to see what happens when Sterling Shepard comes back, because he's going to get some reps as well. So I think that's obviously going to take away from Wan'Dale's role a little bit, but we'll see what happens, man. I'm really interested to see Wan'Dale.
I'm going to be honest with you, KB. I don't think it will. I think Wan'Dale's a starter.
I think he's the guy, man.
I think they've literally involved him in every single play yesterday.
They had a play today.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys saw it on Twitter. They had a play today where Tony lined up as the quarterback. He had Wan'Dale Robinson to his left.
Wildcat. They reported it. Yeah, Wildcat.
I was like, wow.
Wan'Dale,
wow.
KB, not just the practice me and Chris were at. If like just I'm like casually keeping up with these reports, because I'm at work and stuff. I ain't got much time as usual. Just casually keeping up with these reports. Wan'Dale has been the most targeted receiver throughout training camp. He's gonna be a starter.
That's what I think. That's what Bobby said. Bobby said on his podcast, Talking Giants. He said, Wan'Dale may not look like the best receiver out there. He's definitely good. He may not look like the best, but he's definitely the most targeted. And that's what I like to see, a safety blanket, smaller guy, obviously, to run those shorter routes. And that's something that could really be a good, I guess, positive for an offense, man. And have a guy that's just there. He doesn't need to be the best guy in the field. Just find a soft spot in the zone and do work with that. Be a safety blanket, quick drop off, So I like
they'll say is Saquon looks like Saquon.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
He does.
I didn't want to be
really
the
does.
guy to say it, because I mean, it feels like every year we see Saquon practicing. Oh man, he may be back, but let me tell you, man, every single clip I watch of him, it doesn't look like he's scared to make cuts anymore. Because you guys saw the past 2 years, he was just scared to make cuts. Yeah. He was scared to cut inside or even balance outside. He would kind of be just like galloping to the sideline and just hoping.
And he was also scared. I wouldn't say to do risky moves, but like to put his body on the line a bit.
Right.
We saw yesterday. This man made an incredible catch where he laid out for the ball, man.
Yeah, you see him going out there, catching the one-handed grabs in the end zone and stuff like that. You see him out there,
and he's running hard,
athletic.
And again,
exactly, he's running a lot harder.
It's not a game situation yet where they're so we'll see. I don't want to, like you said, I don't want to go overboard, but just off what I'm seeing with my eyes, he looks like Saquon. Yeah. And in this offense, I think it's only going to benefit him even more. So
I'm so excited.
I can see a good year for Saquon.
Let me get these couple of chats real quick. Shout out to Pandemonium for the $5 super chat. He says, I want to know why people are hypocrites. Praises for the wide receivers, but none for DJ, although it's just practice. You're going to get a lot of, I'll tell you, man, there's two types of people out in this world I've noticed. The Daniel Jones, like, complete supporters. They go to the extreme, and then the Daniel Jones.
three.
You're
I
right.
think
You're right. There's 3. Then
Yeah,
there's the
here's-
Daniel
here's-
Jones
here's-
haters that go all the way to the hate said, and then there's people that are in the middle.
Yeah, you've got the Malik Willis crowd. That's what I
Yeah.
call them, the Malik Willis crowd. The people that wanted to take a quarterback at 5th overall in a draft class where a quarterback
you.
didn't go until the 3rd
Mhm.
round outside of Kenny Pickett, but they wanted to take a quarterback no matter what. So any chance that they get to bash Daniel Jones, they're going to do it. And there's plenty of fans like it, okay, that are New York Giants fans. And I understand it. They want to move off of Jones. They don't think he's the long-term answer. You have that crowd. You have the crowd that thinks that Daniel Jones pisses gold. And everything is not his fault. And
Right.
he's going to evolve into the next great quarterback. And then I think most Giant fans, probably about 70%, are kind of in the middle where they're like, all right, I'm leaning that he probably will not be the long-term answer based off all the factors. They didn't extend him on the 5th-year option. You have a new GM. But I'm at least willing to see how he plays in this offense. Joe Shane and Brian Dable are paid professionals. They said they like the kid. They feel like they could get the most out of him in the offense. Let me see what the guy could do before I go crazy without the pads in the new offense. That's my mindset on it. I think that's about 70% of Giants fans' mindset on it. But you definitely have extremes on either end. I agree.
I agree with you. And then Pandemonium, at the risk of sounding like a DJ hater, I will say this. A lot of the catches these wide receivers are making are actually, it's from pretty good coverage. Yeah, there was a couple times yesterday, for example, I saw guys like Richie James just absolutely smoke some corners, sauce them up, they got wide open. But there's also a good amount of catches that is just like, wow, that was an incredible catch by the wide receiver on what was really, really tight coverage. You know what I mean? Let me get to this next comment here. Shout out to the Get Back in the chat. I'm pretty sure Pest is in there as well. And thank you to my mods for handling this one troll that I got multiple accounts, it seems.
Yeah.
Shout out to Mike. Yeah, go ahead, man.
This
He
guy
coming
pops into every stream I'm in. He's impressive.
Really?
Man. Yeah.
Yo, how many, let's say, give or take, over under 20 accounts, how many you think he got?
Oh, God.
He's got at least 5 or 6. And it just amazes me because I was on with Bobby and Justin after we went to training camp. And that was at like 3 o'clock. So he's just always free. He's free on the midday. He's free at night. He always knows what channel I'm going to be on.
No job.
I tip my cap, man.
I don't know. Maybe you should be a little bit flattered, man. That's so much time to you.
And somebody takes that much time out of their day to try to get a rise out of me. I just laugh at the guy.
Yeah.
Mike Nixon, great member, bro. How you doing, my man? He says, yo, Kush KB, and well, look what we have here. How you doing, entertainer? I'm hyped for football to be here. I'm hyped that Tony has stood out, and I'm super hyped for my boy Wan'Dale Robinson. We all are, man. Let me see. And there was another one that came in while we were talking. Giants 26. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. He says, do you guys think starters will play next week? Will Robinson, will Tony? He's referring to preseason, I'm guessing?
Probably preseason. I would say...
I have no idea, because it's the 3-game preseason now, right?
Yeah, I would say Daniel maybe maybe the first team offense get a drive or two. Maybe a drive or two.
I'm going to tell you what, man. I know people worry about injuries. And
I don't think Saquon plays.
I want to see them get at least a game's worth of play between.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
So whether that mean probably 5 quarters is what I'm hoping for. Maybe like a quarter, maybe then a quarter and a half, and then maybe like 2.5 quarters, something like that. You gradually build it up. But I want to see between 4 and 5 quarters worth of play with the first team unit, because you have a completely new offensive defense. You want these guys to at least get some exposure. I thought that was a big mistake that Joe Judge made last year. He barely played the starters.
Everybody was questioning it, man. Everybody was questioning it.
I'd like to see them get some burn. The first game, though, I don't expect more than a quarter, but I expect them to get at least a drive or two.
Yeah. I got a question. Does anybody know, whether on the panel here or in the chat, let me know, what did Buffalo and KC do last year in terms of starters? You know, I guess that would be the safest place to look.
I could be wrong, but I would say Josh Allen didn't play.
Mm-hmm.
At least.
But even with others, even without the quarterback, I would probably say I'll probably go back and try and see if there were any starters and how many, an average of how many quarters they played between the two teams. Shout out to Giants 26 once again for the $2 super chat. He says they could, so that the coaches could see how they act in the game. I mean, we all agree with you. I don't think anybody's saying that they won't.
King Sean says KC played their starters week 2.
So the second week of the preseason. Okay, that's good to know. For about three quarters of the first quarter, so not even the whole first quarter.
I just think with our circumstance specifically, though, like Allen had already been with Dable for a couple of years.
Right,
This is Jones and the offense's first year in this.
Yeah.
I just feel like you got to give him as
I
much
mean, the
exposure.
defense as well
There's just
too.
a
Yeah.
little worry. There's just a little worry for me out there because all of these guys, especially on the offensive side of the
Injuries.
football, they
Yeah.
all got injury
Yeah.
problems. Like I'm not obviously worrying about injuries is something that is inevitable when it comes to football. But like this team in general, this offense in general, all of them have had a lot of injury history. So it's kind of scary. Like going into a preseason game, you're like, oh damn, they're going out for another drive. Oh god, you know what I'm saying? So it's like,
That's the first thing
yeah,
that you're happy about at the end of the game if you don't suffer any
yeah,
injuries.
they all survive. Yeah,
Yeah. So I agree,
Yeah.
but it's not like we're a Super Bowl contending team. So the way I
Right.
look
They
at it is
they need to
get
go
you
out
guys
there
out
and
there, and I'm
Mhm.
not saying play the whole game, but get you guys out there, get them some experience in this games. And if the way I look at it is, if they're gonna get hurt in the second preseason game, if they're that injury prone, they probably were gonna get
Yeah,
hurt.
they were gonna get hurt at the beginning of the season anyway if something like
Eventually,
that
yeah.
happens.
Yeah.
And then speaking of injuries, I like a lot of things with this current regime. We got to see it play out, but I do have confidence when it comes to dealing with player injuries. Going back to what we said at the very beginning of the stream, the way they handle just the players' energy levels, whether gas or not, we saw them take away the pads. But also Blake Martinez, who the day that both of me and you were there, Tana, he had a lot of reps coming off the ACL. He looks to be good. He looks to be getting back to himself, but they gave him extra reps as well. He had some time with the second team, I believe, and he looked fine. Like, in fact, look like they were giving him the extra reps because they're like, you missed some time. Here you go. We want you to start. Take this extra homework, basically. Get in there and do your thing.
Yeah, I'm honestly surprised at how quickly Martinez got back. I thought there was a chance he could start the year, but I didn't think he'd be a full go at the very start of training camp. If you would have told me in March, I would have been like, no, probably not. So he's been a pleasant
Because
surprise.
around what week did he get injured? Does anybody remember? Like, that is a really quick timeline, actually.
It was early, I think. I don't think it was like really late into the season.
Within the first 2 months, for sure.
Yeah, but I still didn't. I mean, I thought he'd be like where Shepard is now, where he's like working out on the side and he's trying to get ready for the beginning of the year. That's where I thought he'd be, but that's been a pleasant surprise. And we've heard about Nick Gates. That may be a pleasant.
I've seen.
surprise.
When I saw Nick Gates walk around, I was like, "This make a walk." Like, I know that sounds hilarious,
Make a walk.
but the injury he had was so serious. I remember,
yeah.
I remember reports coming out saying that it very well will be a 2-year injury. So I was just surprised to see him. Listen, I didn't see him run around, but I'm like, hey, he can walk, man. That's a good sign.
Yeah.
Shout out to Pandemonium once again for the $5 super chat. He says, Chris, Hub, and Blue, before the end of the year, you guys will be residents in
Jonestown.
Hey, yo. What you
That's
mean
been
by
a
that,
thing
bro?
going around, man.
I just want to say,
what does that mean? You're gonna be fans of Jones, I'm assuming.
I guess so. In that community.
I hope
I'm in Jonestown right now. I'm rooting for the kid. I want him to be the guy. I'm going to be rooting my ass off for him on Sundays, but I got to at least be a little bit unbiased. And Jones has to prove it this year. He has to prove it this year. There's no excuses this year. Whether or not there are legitimate excuses, it will not matter. He has to be productive this year. It's his last year on the contract with a new GM and a new head coach. I hope he does it. I'm gonna be rooting for him as hard as anybody. I don't want to have to draft a quarterback next year. I don't. I want Jones to be good enough where we don't have to draft a quarterback. I want to be able to go out there, get that corner in free agency, draft that interior offensive lineman, fill in the other holes on this team. I want Jones to be good enough to at least get another year after this year. We'll see. But I'm rooting for him, man. I'm not a guy that's going to go out there. I'll tell you this right now. I already know week 1, Dan Jones is going to throw a pick. And the Daniel Jones Hater Express is going to say, put Tyrod Taylor in, get him off the I'm not doing that. Okay, I am giving Daniel Jones some time this year to prove whether or not he can grow a lot in this offense. I will promise you that.
This is something I was talking about on Ash's Twitter space a couple of days ago, and obviously everybody's talked about this at one point or another. But I just want to get your thoughts on it, Chris. We all, including myself, I completely agree with you when it comes to Daniel. I'm gonna give him sort of a longer leash and kind of allow him to go out there and prove himself. But how much, and of course we all support him. We don't, like you said, we don't want to draft a quarterback next year. Best case scenario, we want to, try to pay attention to more positions. When it comes to Daniel Jones, though, what is your, I guess, standard for what you think Daniel Jones has to kind of accomplish for him to kind of negate the past 3 years and give him a chance to get
Carr. People have asked me this. He's got to do what Carr did last year.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's gonna be hard to do that. And Carr had a really good year. I know he didn't quite have. I think he only had like 23 or 24 touchdowns, but he was on it and he threw for nearly 5,000 yards. Not that I expect him to do that, but he needs to do what Carr did in the sense that the Raiders had a ton of injuries last year, and he was still able to elevate a team that going into the year many felt was a mediocre team to the playoffs. He got them to 9-8 in a tough AFC. He's got to do something like that. He's got to elevate this team. That's what he has to do to at least come back for another year with the Giants. If he doesn't do that, he's probably gone. He's got to have a good year. There's no babying him anymore. He's got to have a good year. So I'm setting the bar at Carr. Carr's season last year. I need that from Daniel Jones.
Are you confident that if he does have like a Carr year from him and the Giants franchise tag data, are you confident in moving on from these potential quarterbacks in the 2023 draft?
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
Like, are you confident? Like, are you confident in re-signing Jones or giving him a franchise tag and missing out on a quarterback next year if he has a Carr year?
Circumstantial. The way I look at it, KB, is if Jones has a Carr year, we're making the playoffs. So if we make the playoffs, we're not going to be in a spot to draft one of these high-end quarterbacks.
Okay, fair enough.
None of these teams drafted a quarterback this previous year. You're going to have 9, 10, 11, 12 teams looking for a quarterback this year. So if the Giants go 9-8, we're probably not going to be able to get one of those guys. And people could say you could trade up, but everybody's going to be looking to trade up. So I don't think it's going to be as easy as some people make it out to be in terms of trading up to get one of these top 2 or 3 quarterbacks in this year's draft. So in that scenario, I think he's putting us in a spot where you have to franchise tag him because he played good enough to get you to the playoffs. You're not really in a spot to draft one of the top 2 or 3 quarterbacks in that draft. So that's a scenario where I could see him remaining on with the team. If the Giants win 7 games and Jones doesn't do anything special, we're drafting a quarterback. Let's call it how it is. That's what's going to happen. So we'll see. We'll see where we end up in the draft, man.
Yeah. Yep.
And pretty good conversation here. Let me see if there was any comments real quick. Authentic says Carr always misses the playoffs too. The AFC is stacked.
Yeah, poor Carr, man. I'm not gonna lie, man.
It got even more stacked this year, particularly his division got super stacked.
Yeah, Derek Carr is one of my, like, I guess I wouldn't say like one of my favorite quarterbacks to watch, but he's definitely like, I definitely root for him and support him, man, because he's had a couple of seasons where he did extremely well. He's always been overlooked. The Raiders offense is just not good enough. And obviously playing in the AFC West, it's really hard to win in that division and make the playoffs. I like Derek Carr a lot, man. I wish another team.
Carr was great. I give Carr a lot of credit last year. He did a great job with that Raiders team. And the other thing I was thinking about as I was talking, if Jones, and I understand we're not a complete team, but if Jones can't make the playoffs this year, and I don't expect playoffs this year, but we're talking about him being good enough to move on, to continue to build with. Look at the schedule we play. Like, we play as weak of a schedule you could ever ask for.
Right.
He's got to do it this year. You have to take the jump this year. So as much as like some Daniel Jones lovers, and I love him, but when I say lovers, I mean people that think he pisses gold, think that, he could have a good statistical year and we can win 6 or 7 games. You could keep him. I disagree with that.
Right.
If he doesn't make the playoffs this year, it's time. It's time to move on. And I'm sorry that this guy's an asshole, but
yeah,
I'm not even watching it. But I see that you're being bothered by the chat.
I'm trying to figure out a way to ban him at the same time. But the thing is, for somebody asked it in the chat,
you can put slow motion in the chat.
Slow motion.
And then he can only type every 30 seconds.
Do I do that from right here, or do I do that from like the live streaming thing?
I think you could do that from the actual
YouTube. You have to do it
from YouTube. I think you could do it from the chat.
No, I don't think you can do it from the chat. I think you have to do it from the studio.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. So I'm gonna go into here.
Okay.
I've had to do that before. You put like a 30-second slow mode on.
Yeah. So sorry everybody who wanted to comment more than one comment in 30 seconds. We're just trying to,
because what it is
regulate.
The thing is
that
guys. They are hiding him, but he has multiple accounts, so that's why he keeps coming back for people. I saw somebody in the chat ask, why aren't we doing that? Let me see.
Subscribers mode's not going to stop anything because you could just subscribe.
Yeah, I'm trying to see where in the world
the slow mode on.
Where slow mode is. That's what I'm trying to find right now. I'm in the dashboard. I'm in the blacked out live stream settings type thing.
I haven't done it in so long. But it's there. It's in the black.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, I found it.
Yeah, you can set it to like 30 seconds, and then he can have all the accounts he wants. He's not gonna be able to spam.
But slow mode has been set. Getting back to and thank you guys in the chat, everybody else, for being patient with us. Well, we got that thing. Yeah, having multiple accounts is kind of crazy. I wanted to steer back before we get into the Daniel Jones thing because I always try to, at this point, to avoid Daniel Jones talk. Every single stream, Giant stream, it seems like, gets steered towards that. To go back towards the day 6, which was yesterday, Tana, out of the wide receivers and DBs, which was like the first main drill we saw, then we saw 11 on 11s, and you saw kind of everything else, a little bit of D-line, a little bit of O-line. Out of those 4 groups, who did you think had the best day?
You're saying what do you mean in terms of the positional groups?
Yeah.
I mean, the one guy that stood out to me on the 1-on-1 drill was that one play that really jumped off the page was Tony burning Adoree Jackson. But overall, the player that stood out when it mattered most, which is the 11 on 11s, was Adoree Jackson. Adoree Jackson came up with 2 interceptions, had the one on the goal line. So I think he probably stood out the most in terms of an individual player. In terms of a unit, outside of Evan Neal, who obviously looked like he struggled, I based off the circumstance, I thought the offensive line did a really good job, which probably had a lot to do with why Daniel Jones had his most efficient practice.
Just asking for clarification, first team only, right? Because I do think that second and third team is very worrying. Yeah,
I'm talking about the first team.
Yeah.
I would go with the offensive line because there was a lot of times where Jones had the necessary time to throw, and you saw guys getting open. So
he had a good pocket for most of the day. He had a really good pocket, and I'd say at least 1.5 to 2 seconds or even more at times.
Yeah, I was impressed with the first team offensive line. There were definitely a couple of plays where they got beat, but overall, I thought they did a really good job.
KB, you got any questions on day 6? I would agree with you. I'd say we saw a lot more of the backup receivers on day 2. It seemed like they got arrested, and we'll get into day 7 where it seems like he absolutely went off. Tony had a couple of catches in the beginning, but it seemed like they rested him towards the end as well. So you saw a lot of these guys are trying to make the roster. Credit. David Sills had the touchdown to end the practice.
Sills' army is still running strong.
I'll say, though, this guy, Richie James, is the one who impressed me the most, man, wearing number 80 now.
Richie James is so shifty, man. He has what really, he utilizes low center of gravity very much. Like, he gets so low to the ground when he makes his cuts. Like, that move he put on Darnay, he was able to, like, get really low center of gravity and kind of shift one way to another. I really like the way Richie James moves, man. I really do.
I was telling Pest, of course, the main reason he's here is to be the kick returner. That's what he was with the San Francisco 49ers, and that's why I pretty much knew he was going to make the team from the jump. But when I watched him play, I'm like, not that I think he's going to get many reps if we don't have injuries, but when I watched him play, I said, he is a guy that could fill in a similar role to a guy like Tony or Wan'Dale Robinson. If one of those guys went down, he seems like a shifty type wide receiver that's, that has a lot of speed after the catch. So I just feel like he's a really good fit in terms of a backup for those two.
I think that was probably the plan from Shane, like kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone, bring him in as the returner. And hey, this guy also has a very similar sort of play style to like a Tony or a Wan'Dale or whatever the case is. And
he has good height too. It's not like he's super short. Like he has a good build. Yeah,
he's 6 foot. So
man, he uses it well, man. He was one of the guys that I think it might have been Darnay Holmes. Don't quote me on this. Absolutely shaked him out of his boots, and he was just wide open on the right side of the field. I'm like, who is that? Oh, it's Richie James getting open again. Made a lot of good catches. After a touchdown, he did a David Wilson like flip in the end zone, which I found pretty funny. Showing off a little bit for the fans. I like it when the players do stuff like that. Like even on that day, Leonard Williams was doing his drills on the sideline. He came up, did like a big roar. And just I had my section cheering. It's really fun, man. It was my first time at training camp. It's really fun just to see the players. Like they know you're watching. They're already putting on their best effort, and they put a little bit of extra in there as well to keep the people entertained. I just love it so much, man. Which is why I'm gonna try and go back next Tuesday, actually, and hopefully there will be a padded practice. Cool, you gonna be next Tuesday as well?
Tuesday I'm going, yeah.
That's what's up. I'm gonna try and get there early too. I gotta eat a ketchup hot dog. Stand in solidarity with my brother Justin Pennick because we are both ketchup hot dog guys. All right.
Kid Blue, don't tell me you are also.
Wait. Put ketchup on my hot dogs.
How do you eat your hot dog?
I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little against the grain. I put nacho cheese on my hot dogs, but
that's different.
Yeah, when I go to racetrack every day, because I'd be out on the street every day. Pause. I go to racetrack, go to hit up racetrack. There's a gas station down here. I don't know if there's up there, but hit a racetrack and get me a hot dog with some nacho cheese on it. Yeah.
I go with the mustard. I go with the sauerkraut.
I don't know what is.
I
I don't know
can't.
what it is
It's
with
just
y'all
that's
with mustard,
too
man.
sour. I like mustard. Don't get me wrong. It's just not my go-to. It's just not my go-to. I
Okay.
mean, if
That's
somebody
fair.
says, here's I got a hot dog with mustard on it, I'm like, okay, cool, and I'll eat it. But if it's there as a condiment, I'm probably steering away. But
People don't like mustard.
Listen, man. I don't.
You know
I
what I
don't.
like?
I can't
what's
name
really
one
good mustard?
food where mustard
I
can
see
go on.
people in the
Listen.
chat. Authentic saying not fan mustard ain't it.
Even
listen,
nerding out sports saying no mustard.
Listen, pure yellow mustard is kind of nasty. Spicy mustard is good. Dijon mustard is really good. I like Dijon mustard.
That's
got-
what they have at
you got-
training camp. I think Dijon
You
mustard.
gotta go with
Dijon mustard is pretty damn
the
good.
spicy brown mustard with sauerkraut, and I like
spicy
brown.
brown is not bad. Spicy brown is not bad. Yellow mustard kind of gets me a little like queasy. Like straight up yellow mustard is kind of like tastes like I don't even know what it tastes like. It just tastes nasty. But but spicy brown is definitely something I'd probably eat. And Dijon mustard is really good to me. I like Dijon. Honey mustard is a little overrated. I ate it a lot. Like
I
especially
like honey mustard, but not on my hot
Yeah,
dog.
Yeah, honey
a little
mustard is for
overrated.
like your sandwich that you
chicken
get from the
tenders.
deli.
yeah, some chicken tenders or something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But nah, I can't mess with the yellow mustard. No.
Listen, all I'm saying is I will be there
King
early
Chuck said, "What
because
is
Justin
sauerkraut?" I think the
is.
youngins don't eat sauerkraut. Like really young.
You know what we gotta do, Hub? We
What?
gotta get in touch. We gotta get in touch with Justin, and when we go on Tuesday, we'll get like 3 other guys, and we will all make our hot dogs the way
you guys
that
are
we
not
prefer.
gonna have a sausage.
And we
fest
will
today,
let
man.
we will let the people in the chat vote on what is the best made hot.
You guys all have to take a bite at the same time on camera.
Listen,
We'll let them view it first before we eat it.
yeah, get a nice little pan
This is
over
my
the
hot dog
dogs.
of choice. I'm bringing Dijon in there, Roy.
Listen, they don't have. I like chili dogs, but they don't have chili
dogs
there.
are good, man.
The
That's what I'm
Rand, they
saying,
don't have
the
that as a
nacho-
topping.
Like nacho cheese on the hot dogs is pretty damn good. Nacho cheese.
I'll say this though, random, but I thought this as well. I'm like, for $1 billion corporation, Giants, really all you could afford to give us fans as a food choice is this like food truck, which is hot dogs and burgers, bro. Nothing else. I was like, there's nothing else y'all could provide at Fanfest. I mean,
and they
at
already
training camp,
sell-
bro.
They already sell the freaking basic chicken tenders over there for like $15.
At least I'll say this. At least it's fairly priced. Like it's not too terribly bad. The prices they got for the food.
Those.
Not at MetLife. Not at MetLife at training camp.
At MetLife, bro, that was the worst investment I made in my life, bro. Oh my god, those things were nasty, and the portion was tiny.
When you go to a Giants game, you got to eat before you go in.
I know, I did.
Yeah.
I was still hungry.
You got to eat and drink before.
That's
you
why
go.
at the tailgate,
man.
when we were at that Washington game,
we were eating.
yeah, Thrill Collins and the guys Nikki and they had a whole table of food set up. I was like, I'm eating his because I'm not buying anything once I enter that door.
I had
man.
a lot of shrimp, bro.
Yeah,
lot of
shrimp
that day.
cocktail, yeah.
Bro, we had a lot of shrimp that day.
See, this is why chat, if there's any game we're going to, just try and match up with us, bro. It's a good time. Shout out to
bro.
Pandemonium.
Whatever game I guess we decide on, I guess it might be the Chicago
It's
game.
looking like Chicago now, yeah.
Yeah, looking like Chicago, bro. I'm so pumped up for that. If everybody goes there, if we could all meet up at the same time, because
that'd be awesome.
I got to be with Kush one year, got to be with Chris another year. Like I want us to all be together. So
Yeah, man.
let's
Definitely.
do it. Yeah.
Shout out to Pandemonium for the $5 super chat. He says, "Can we give Davey G his flowers for setting the foundation?" Yeah, I can.
Oh,
Listen,
God.
this I feel like this would by a lot of fans.
Talk about the gentleman.
Come on, KB.
It gets people riled up.
That's what I was gonna say. I'm like, a lot of fans would get riled up by it, but no, like, I'm gonna be fair, bro. I love Andrew Thomas. That was Dave Gettleman.
I do love Andrew Thomas.
I love Xavier McKinney.
And
Dave
we
Gettleman.
love having Kayvon and Neal at the same time.
Yeah, you know what? I'll give
Pause.
Dave. I'll give Dave like 1 rose. I'm not giving him like a whole bouquet.
Right.
He, and I stuck up for Dave as long as I could.
Everybody did, man. Yeah, we all did.
You guys as well. We stuck up for him as long as we could, and at the end of the day, he did a bad job. But I'll give him a 1 rose. He got us Andrew Thomas. He got us Xavier McKinney. He got us Kadarius Toney. He
Zizo
made the trade,
Jalari.
which resulted in obviously Evan Neal and Kayvon Thibodeau. I'm going to give him credit actually more for that than our current GM, because our current GM, I could have done what he did. I mean, those are the two best players arguably in the draft that fell
Neal
into
and
the lap.
Kayvon.
But at the same time, you could say that he did pass up on Rashawn Slater to make that trade. So let's see how these players play out. But regardless, I'll give him credit for that. He did set us up with some foundational pieces. But ultimately, in terms of Dave Gettleman's legacy, if it's going to be improved, it's going to come down to Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
If Daniel Jones becomes a guy that some people seem to think could be a great quarterback, Dave Gettleman's legacy in the end will look much better. If he does not, Dave Gettleman will be viewed as a huge failure as the New York Giants GM. But he got us some pieces. I'll give him credit for that.
Well, on top of that, with Dave Gettleman, is like, okay, you drafted, Daniel Jones. Obviously, that was Pat Shermer's guy more than Gettleman's guy, but he pulled the trigger. Obviously, Gettleman did. But it's also Gettleman's fault for not hiring the right guys to help Jones. You know, he hires the coaches, so it's like it's still kind of his fault too. If Jones were to succeed this year, his first year without Dave Gettleman, it really showed that Dave Gettleman just drafted Pat Shermer's guy just to do it, and he didn't know how to help Daniel Jones in any way.
Also, until further notice, until Daniel actually goes out there and puts up some numbers, bro, Pat Shermer is a wizard to me. Until Daniel goes out there and puts up some great offensive numbers, man.
Daniel Jones had more touchdowns his rookie year than the other 2
To be
years.
fair, though, like Jason Garrett is also a war criminal, so there's, it's like you got two sides of the scale, really. You know what I mean? That man, listen, that man has to get a job in literally the minor leagues.
Let's be fair, and I agree about Jason Garrett. I agree about Jason Garrett, especially after you see the offense we have now. Some of that's got to fall on Joe Judge too.
Of course, 100%.
I think a lot of it is Joe Judge, because if you look at Jason Garrett's play calling in Dallas, it wasn't vanilla as it was with the Giants. It really wasn't. There was a lot of ground and pound, a lot of deep balls, right? I don't know what the hell Jason Garrett did. I think it was Joe Judge, because you saw it leak into the defense where they got conservative too.
The defense was ultra conservative.
Right. So honestly, the common denominator when it came to special teams, when it came to defense and offense, it was being conservative and playing not to lose.
And outside of just thinking about the play calling, Jason Garrett's not making the decision to punt on 4th and 1 from the opponent's 40.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Like,
oh, my God. Yo, we're bringing up freaking nightmares now, bro.
And in today's NFL, you have to be more aggressive than that. And I do still think Joe Judge could become a good head coach someday, and hopefully he learns from the experience. But that is not going to get it done, regardless of how you may feel about the pieces on your offense. You got to take shots in today's NFL, man. You see what the Chargers do; they're going for it on 4th and 3 from their own 30. Of course, it helps when you have Justin.
Do you remember every single game, and I mean every single game, Judge would have the offense go out there on a 4th down and try to trick the other team into jumping instead of just taking the chance. That annoyed me to no end. Because when it started happening every single game, I'm like, just do it.
The one time he does it and Evan Ingram gets that freaking huge catch, it was Evan Ingram, wasn't it, on that special teams play? He got called back?
Yeah.
Oh, my God, during that Dallas game. Oh, my God. Man, that was just a roller coaster of emotions, bro.
So that was a nice trip down memory lane. Let me get this next super chat from Pandemonium.
This was going back. I'm already stressed out by thinking about it.
This was going back to the Glizzy talk. He says you gotta do honey mustard and grilled chicken. I agree with you, man. I agree with you. Honey mustard on sandwiches.
I could go with that. Yeah.
Exactly. Now I was gonna wrap up that day 6 talk before we get into what actually happened today, with just kind of a general type of thoughts, I guess. I think the wide receivers looked really good on day 6, with the caveat of, like I was mentioning earlier, the fact that the defensive line was getting through with the second and third team offensive line. So, like, even though the wide receivers look good, they don't even get those throws if those sacks were called. And like Chris mentioned earlier, eventually Wink and Dable got into it. I'm guessing I would put my money that's what made him say, all right, start calling sacks. Because in like the last 30 minutes of the practice, we started seeing that. Like, they were actually, they were stopping the plays once the quarterback, it looked like he was about to get sacked. There was one play where Tyrod didn't even look like he was going to get sacked. He was actually juking around, but they still called it dead. Don't want to risk anything with injury. And we saw that going forward. Getting into day 2 now, KB, let me let you take away, because I know you had a chance to read a little bit of it. Give us some talking points of what happened today, man.
Before we start with that, did they continue? Does anybody know if they continue to call sacks today as well?
I'm not sure.
I don't know, bro.
Wow. But, I mean, today wasn't really too much different than what we saw before, except kind of more on a more of a higher level. Kenny Golladay really had a fantastic day. He was targeted a couple of times. I know Daniel Jones was like 9 out of 10 with one drop. Don't know who that drop was. If anybody has who that drop was, but Kenny Golladay had I think like 4 highlight worthy plays during the drills today. Oh, I think it was during 11 on 11 today, whatever it was, team periods or whatever. But I mean, Kenny Golladay went completely off. Daniel Jones is doing a lot better, and he struggled earlier on. But obviously, when it comes, you guys know the same. When practice makes perfect, or practice makes better. So he's doing a lot better. He's progressing. The offense in general just seems to be clicking a lot more. Yeah, the offensive line seems to be doing a lot well. Evan Neal is just having those rookie sort of growing pains, and we'll see what happens with that. But all in all, it was an offensive type day, and they looked really good. Saquon Barkley hitting the hole very nicely. Like I said before, offensive line doing very well, and a big takeaway to me is Andrew Thomas. I mean, like Andrew Thomas is doing what he should be doing. A lot of people are actually getting mad that Kayvon Thibodeau wasn't having his way on Andrew Thomas and saying Kayvon Thibodeau was just like bad or whatever. This is what should happen. Nobody
Andrew Thomas locked down Chase Young last year.
But
Listen,
on top of that,
Andrew Thomas was a Pro Bowler that didn't get his recognition. Yeah. I'm fully convinced he's gonna be listen, call me even biased. I think he's gonna be a top 10 tackle this year, bro.
Here's what I'm gonna say this year, guys. Who is the most important player on this team? Daniel Jones, right?
It's got to be Daniel Jones.
So what would you rather happen in practice? Your edge rusher perform really good against your left tackle, or your left tackle to lock up your edge rusher? We got to protect our quarterback. So that's encouraging to me that Andrew Thomas.
Exactly. Well, on top of that, he's a 4th-year tackle. I mean, and he's supposed to be our franchise left tackle. He's got to be better than the rookie. I don't care where you draft that rookie at. He's got to be better than the rookie.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't expect, nor would I want a rookie edge rusher, no matter how flashy he is, to be better than my franchise left tackle protecting my quarterback. I would want right off the gate Andrew to be better. If eventually Kayvon starts to get his way with Andrew Thomas, eventually as he develops, then that's fine. But right off the gate in training camp, nobody should be saying Kayvon Thibodeau is a bust because he can't get past Andrew Thomas. That's what should happen. Okay, that's what you want to happen. And Andrew Thomas is giving everybody the business right now.
And speaking, if we're going to talk about overreactions with our rookie, go ahead and get started with the Evan Neal overreactions. They've been crazy.
Oh yeah,
you really got Giants fans out here calling this man Eric Flowers. Like, what is wrong with you, bro?
And this is the problem with New York media, and this is why some players are kind of like intimidated playing in New York. Is because things like that happen where Evan Neal, like, let's just call it how it is. He got rolled and he got spin moved and on the floor by Quincy Rochet in one play. But it's those type of things where people just take it completely, not just take it at face value right there and just saying that's the clip. Now Evan Neal sucks, and now it's trending all over Twitter. And this is the type of things that players see, and they're like, damn, well, the media already hates me. I mean, I don't like that about how the New York media is, but it's definitely an overreaction. It's rookie growing pains, the tackle position. And as much times that we say it, people just don't realize it. The tackle position is one of the hardest positions to play right out the gate, transitioning to the NFL. I mean, we should
know it by now.
It's really just brute strength and a lot of technique, man. There's a lot of things that you're going to see in the NFL as far as pass rush moves that you don't see in the collegiate. In the collegiate level, like we talk about it all the time. Look at Azeez Ojulari and the success he had at college. I mean, he had success in the NFL as well, but he's a guy that didn't really have a lot of pass rush moves coming out. You see a lot of guys actually come out of college and be high draft picks that don't have a lot of pass rush moves. So these offensive tackles, these offensive linemen don't see a lot of pass rush moves in the collegiate level. They go into the NFL and it's a whole different game. It's a whole different position to play.
Plus, I'm sure he's got a new O-line coach in his ear trying to teach him new techniques.
And he's back on the right side.
Yeah, so let's give the guy some time, man. Let's give everybody some time. It's early still.
Yeah, and we talked about this a little bit before we went live. I think a lot of people seen what Rashawn Slater did last year, and they're just like, hey, this is Evan Neal. This is supposed to be the safest draft pick in that draft. He's got to be Rashawn Slater's status right off the gate, and as much as we want that to happen, it's just
Not everybody develops at the same rate.
Not a probable situation, and it doesn't mean he's gonna be a bust. It doesn't mean he's gonna be a bust at all. Some guys take longer than others, and this doesn't even mean that he's gonna suck in his rookie year either. That doesn't even mean that either. So he could be great in this upcoming season. He just got to work out through the growing pains.
Yeah, I think he will.
Yeah. Yep.
Speaking of growing pains, regrowing pains, I guess you could call it, getting used to being in the actual offense and getting targeted. Like we briefly mentioned earlier, Kenny Golladay had a lot of good catches today. He was targeted a lot. In fact, scrolling through Twitter, I was trying to find a couple of videos doing his thing of contested catches, doing his thing of using his big body to bully on our smaller number one cornerback, Adoree Jackson. He looked really good as well. It's just like a lot of these things, even though we're now in the second week of training camp, it's still kind of early. These guys still have to take more time to adjust. They got to take more time to just get to know the plays that they're running. Like on the defensive side, for example, they have a new defensive play caller in Xavier McKinney. Obviously, he used to be the middle linebacker, Blake Martinez. But safety's doing it now because that's what Wink did back up in Baltimore. He had, I think it was Eric Weddle calling the plays in Baltimore. Now Xavier McKinney is going to be basically the quarterback of the defense this year, which is also something I'm excited about because I think we could all agree he's one of the best young players that we have on the team right now.
I think you could argue at least he's the best player in our defense. It's
could argue that, yeah.
Leonard Williams, him.
And Leonard Williams has been having a great training camp as well, actually.
Yeah.
I know today was the Kenny Golladay day for on Twitter, but apparently he's been he was getting through the middle of the line a lot today, is what I'm reading.
I think he's going to benefit a lot this year with this type of defense, blitzing from all over. It's only going to help him and able to get better shots at the quarterback.
Yeah, to the point of McKinney now having the headset and calling the plays. Carl Banks said it. He said it makes a lot of sense. That's what it should be because, you look at Blake Martinez or Xavier McKinney. McKinney's probably going to be on the field have more plays. You got a lot of sub packages where you may not need a linebacker or Blake Martinez may be subbed out for whatever reason. And, having McKinney out there consistently calling plays kind of makes more sense. And on top of that, you look at from the safety position too, you have a view of everyone on the field. The linebackers can't really see the DBs behind them and things like that. The safeties really have a view of everything. They know how everything is kind of landscape. So I agree with it too. I like having the safety and being the play caller, and they could see everything. They could call out what they see and kind of direct every player to get to whatever position they need to get to. So,
and Xavier's probably, you mentioned he's going to be on the field a lot. He's probably going to be the person that's going to be used the most in the defense as well, given his skill set. He's going to be used all over the place. Wink even hinted at that, and Xavier in the same press after practice interview that they did where it was talking about the green dot on his headset now, he even mentioned it as well. He's he expects to be used a lot more compared to what he was used in his first and second year over there. But the reason I even brought up Xavier is because there's probably something along those lines of a different type of thing going on with the offense that we don't know about, which could also lead to these offensive linemen taking some more time to adjust, which could lead to us now seeing Kenny Golladay get some shine. There's just so many things as fans that we don't know going on. I'm just going to say, let's wait until we can see him in the preseason. You know what I mean? That's kind of where my mindset is right now.
And even then, I'm probably going to say, let's wait until we see him in the regular season because we all know it's a vanilla playbook in the preseason games. I mean, you get a little bit, but you're not getting the full grasp of either team's playbook. So I remember the year. I remember we went 4-0. I think it was in the preseason 4 years ago, and then we won 4 games all year. So I feel like you can't really get much of a grasp on how this team is really going to be until such time you see him in the regular season.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed. Yeah.
Then let me see right here. Neal. There was one other player, man, that's just completely I forgot to talk about. Oh yeah, Quincy Rochet had kind of a little bit of a day as well to against.
He's against the third team though, man.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel? How do you feel about Rochet kind of being a little bit buried on that depth chart now?
I'm surprised because I like Rochet. But the way Jimenez has played, he may have asserted himself above Rochet in terms of the probability of making the roster. We'll see. It'll be fun and interesting to see who makes the team. But Jimenez has played really well. I know it's practice, and I don't want to read too much into it with him. But it seems, at least as of now, Rochet's kind of behind him.
Yeah, he put on weight too, Jimenez. You could see it. He put on weight too.
And he still has the speed. that he had before he put on the extra weight.
And listen, if Zimenez winds up like, I just hope that this isn't just a practice thing where he's doing well in practice, because I don't think this is the first year that Zimenez has looked good in practice. This is probably the best he's looked in practice, in training camp. But I'm pretty sure there has been years where he's looked like he may actually hit his stride as well. But I mean, hopefully this isn't just a practice thing, and when he goes out in a game and he just does what he did in prior years, there's absolutely nothing. Because Quincy Rochet is somebody that was very productive when we brought him on last year, and that would suck to miss out on Quincy Rochet, or probably just have less reps for Quincy Rochet if Zimenez isn't doing anything. So I hope if Zimenez is for real, I hope it's for real, and that's the reason why he takes the job from Quincy Rochet. But Rochet was very productive. Like, I had a lot of high hopes for him.
I like Rochet. I hope he makes the team.
Yeah.
I really hope. I mean, we were literally talking about Rochet as, the second best rusher on the team last year next to Aziz. So I definitely want to see him come back and put in some work as well. Let me ask you about the center position, though, Chris. We had John Feliciano slated to be the starter. Ben Bredesen was in it yesterday. And I think Jamil Douglas is the guy that was also playing at center, but didn't really have...
initial center.
He didn't really have too much of a good performance. What do you think about the center position?
Yeah, he was bad.
And then they put Lemieux there.
And it was.
Lemieux
I heard it looked good. I heard it looked good.
Yeah,
too.
they put Lemieux there, and then the day we went, they put Bredesen. The one guy I haven't heard about at all is Garcia, who was a free agent we picked up.
Yeah, where the hell is he at? I never even heard anything about him.
Yeah, I thought he had a pretty good chance to make the team, but not the way
anymore,
I look at it. Yeah, I don't think he's making this team. It looks like Bredesen's got a decent shot to maybe grab that last spot. Yeah, I mean, the center spot's interesting because we're really thin there. We'll see. Maybe Nick Gates comes back at some point this year, and if he does, that would be a big boost to the interior part of the offense.
Man, that would be great.
Well. But I'm thinking, provided he could play, I'd still say Feliciano's probably the favorite to be the starter. He's familiar with the offensive line coach. He's a veteran. They brought him in here. They said he was going to be the starter to start the year, but maybe Lemieux does take that spot. And then at that point, maybe Azudu gets a spot in terms of one of the starting guard positions. It'll be interesting. But, yeah, Lemieux has looked pretty good at the center position thus far.
And Azudu, too. You mentioned Azudu. Yeah, you mentioned Azudu. He's been looking pretty good as well. Like,
he plays some tackle, too.
He plays a swing tackle. Marcus McKeithen as well, the UNC tackle we drafted, was also used as a swing tackle. So Josh Azudu, when he was been playing left guard in place of Shane Lemieux, he was playing center. I heard it was looking really good. And I heard a couple other people. I think Bobby said it. He said he would be comfortable if it was Shane Lemieux at center and Azudu at left guard. Now, we don't know if that's really a possibility if John Feliciano obviously wins that job, because it seems like they're pretty set on John Feliciano as being that center. So we'll see what happens. But man, if Shane Lemieux's been looking really good, he's been a pleasant surprise this training camp. I didn't really expect anything. I'll be honest, I didn't expect anything for Shane Lemieux.
He might not make the team.
Yeah, and I really like Josh Azudu. I'm a big Josh Azudu guy, so I thought he wound up maybe taking that starting left guard role. But it seems like Shane Lemieux is fighting for it. Yeah, he's not going down.
I'm right there with you. I'm a really big Josh Azudu fan. That's actually who I wanted to be the starting left guard for this year. I just have a lot of faith in the kid, and we saw him play tackle, as you mentioned. He played basically all over the offensive line in college. A really versatile player to watch, man. Same thing with Marcus McKeithen, the other lineman we took out of NC, North Carolina is where they were from, right?
Yeah, UNC.
UNC, yeah, they were both out of UNC. He was also shifted around a bit. But getting back to Azudu, now seeing exactly what we're talking about, Shane Lemieux kind of putting on a little bit of a show at the center position. I don't know if it's going to be good enough to beat out Feliciano, because I want to see Feliciano in person play that center role. Hopefully I see that next Tuesday and we could get some more reports out of there.
Hopefully with pads too.
Yeah, with pads, man. I really want to see a padded practice. But the interior right there at the very least looks good. You guys brought up Max Garcia. The guard position when it comes to backups, I'm a little bit worried about. Same with the tackle. I know Matt Peart has a red shirt on right now, no contact, so hopefully he could come back healthy and fine, because definitely missing him, like I said, with that second team offensive line. They need help at the tackle spot.
I think.
Matt,
right?
Yeah, he did too.
Gono quit.
Oh, is that what it was? He quit. Yeah,
he left. He's contemplating.
When?
He's contemplating retirement.
I didn't hear that.
I didn't know that. This is like last year. What are you talking about? This is like the last.
I know. So somebody, it was announced on Twitter, and somebody was like, "Oh, is Joe Judge back?"
Oh wow, I didn't see that. I
saw
that.
How recent is that?
Well, that list that he's put on is for players contemplating retirement and or leaving the team. list that he was put on.
Well,
It's not like a pub list or NFI list or like any other. It's like a special list for like people contemplating retirement. And that in that case, it doesn't take up he doesn't take up a 90-man spot.
I see it. Yep. Bobby posted it. Giants are putting offensive tackle Matt Gono on the left squad exempt list. This list is used for players contemplating retirement and opens up a roster spot to be used without cutting the player.
Yeah, maybe I don't know if it was a strategic thing or if that's real.
I'm going to tell you what, guys, if that is the case, I think the Giants are bringing in another lineman. I think we're going to sign another tackle.
Yeah, they would have to.
Because I know, like, Azudu's capable. I want a real legit swing tackle.
And I heard that Matt Gono, obviously I'm not there, so I heard that Matt Gono has been, like, kind of been yelled at by a lot of coaches lately. So I don't know if it's him just like, oh, damn, I'm tired of this. I'm out. So, and it's funny because nobody before this was mentioned, nobody mentioned that Matt Gono was really like, I never heard anything about Matt Gono until this happened. So I don't know if he was performing poorly or good or whatever the case was, but I don't know if this is a strategy by the Giants. Maybe something else happened to him.
Do you think we maybe try and get somebody from the Bears? I know that they're looking into trade their very, very young tackle that they drafted a couple years ago. Somebody put Jenkins.
Somebody said Darius Slayton, and maybe you would have to add another pick in there just because Tevin Jenkins is an early round pick, and he's still kind of like his second year, right?
It's literally like his second year. They got him 2 years ago.
You might have to, like, if you want to package Darius Slayton because Tyke Tolbert's over there.
But the Bears line is so bad as is.
Yeah.
But there's been a lot of reports saying they're looking to trade him.
Their wide receiving core is even worse than their offensive line. I'll be honest with you.
Disaster, man.
See, the thing is,
for everybody that says that Daniel Jones has been set up poorly, my God, look at the Bears, man. Like, Justin Fields has no chance.
I feel bad for him. I really do.
He's got no chance. And I'm going to tell you what, there's a good chance he gets replaced next year. Because if the Bears do so bad and you're picking top 3 or 4 in a
you have to try,
class, you might take one. Especially
or if there's a tackle, or just getting a tackle.
Yeah, so we'll see. But he has been set up to fail, man.
Yeah. But as I don't know why, if Tevin Jenkins has looked just absolutely horrible, if that's why they're trying to trade him. But I would take a chance because it's not like we need him to be one of our starting. We finally got our starting tackles down.
Isn't this like his second year in the NFL?
Yeah, bro. He's very young.
So he had 1 year in the NFL and they want to trade him? Or 2 years?
It's like 1 or 2.
It's either his second or third year.
Jesus, like we didn't even do that with Eric Flowers. Crying out loud. This guy must or like Brady Christensen from the Panthers, like he was garbage. Like, or Sam Cosmi on the Commanders, he's garbage, and they don't even want to trade him. Like, this guy must be real trash, but I don't know. And I like Tevin Jenkins. Was he like Oklahoma State or something like that? Where is he from? Tevin Jenkins.
I think he was Oklahoma State. I think he was. Now that I'm pretty sure he was.
Yeah, let me look him up. I'm pretty sure I liked him.
And let me get a super chat. Meanwhile, shout out to New York Giants 26. He says, "Is the Nigerian O lineman still with the squad?" Good question. I don't know. Roy Mbedabeka. I might be completely butchering that last name. I don't know. I'll be honest with you. He probably is.
We haven't heard anything of him either.
He's not going to make the team. If that's what you're asking. I'll keep my eye out for him next time I go, though, because he's 6'9", so he should be hard to miss. But
Alex just let me know he still is with the squad. Thanks, Alex.
Yeah, Tevin Jenkins was that's why.
What's up?
Tevin Jenkins, he's from Oklahoma State. I remember that much. He was drafted last year, 2021 draft. He's that nerdy kid, that nerdy freaking prospect. I was like, yo, he's a monster on the field. But it says here that ESPN reported that he missed his 6th straight practice with an undisclosed injury. So I think the Chicago Bears are just trying to dump him because he maybe have an injury that they feel like he can't come back from.
Or maybe they're just like, this guy's not serious about putting the work in.
I was about to say, if it's undisclosed and like they're trying to trade him, he probably just didn't let the team know about whatever was going on.
Yeah, because they don't want to, if it's really bad in terms of like his work ethic, they don't want to say that because it could hurt.
Damn, a lot of people thought Tevin Jenkins could have been like the best.
I like him.
Didn't Brett Coleman make a video on him, bro?
Yeah, he loves him.
So we'll see. I mean, it's an option. But speaking of, because you brought it up, and I agree,
as a swing tackle,
yeah, if Mac Gano really is gone, I do think we probably are gonna look at some free agent offensive linemen. Just gonna name off names and stop me at any point. Keep in mind, this would be for a backup position.
These are free agents.
Yeah, these are all free agents right now. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you prepared?
Also, keep in
I
mind,
have a feeling this is gonna be so
also
bad.
keep in mind that we may end up picking somebody that's currently on another roster that gets cut. But go ahead.
Oh
I
yeah.
agree. I agree. From the second round of free agency.
Yeah.
Nate Solder,
Okay.
Don't say
Dwayne
Cam
Brown,
Don't say Cam.
J.C.
Gallagher.
Treader. That's a name
He's
I feel like
interior,
we've
though.
all
He's
heard
not a
of. Yeah,
tackle.
he's
Yeah,
a
JC
center.
Tretter's
Yeah,
a guard. Or
center
guard.
guard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Brian Bulaga from the Chargers.
That's an
Eric
interesting
Flowers. I actually wouldn't mind bringing him in as a backup.
Nah, not
guard.
as a tackle. Not as a
No,
tackle,
but as a
but
backup guard though, bro. He'd be
yeah,
really
as
good.
I don't think he'd ever want to come back here.
I don't think so either. Yeah.
Yeah, the media would tear him off again.
Yeah.
Eric Fisher, last with Indianapolis.
He's old.
He's like
old as hell.
31. He's not even the
Oh,
oldest
really?
player I listed here. Yeah.
Really?
Brian
He's the-
Bulaga was
He's
older.
the former Kansas City Chief, right? The
Former
Yeah,
number one
yeah.
overall pick. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that 2013 draft, right? Yeah,
Mhm.
something like that. Yeah. That was a terrible draft.
Daryl Williams, last with Buffalo. Trey
Daryl
Hopkins,
Williams was
guard.
a guy.
You guys remember when back in the day, was it 2017?
He was a former Gettleman guy. So we
Yeah,
always
Gettleman guy,
thought that the Giants
2017. Everybody
may
was a
bring him
Daryl
in,
Williams guy. Thank
because
God we
Gettleman
didn't get
drafted
him.
him with Carolina.
Mhm.
Yeah. Him and Andrew Norwell. Thank God we didn't get him.
Marcus Cannon, formerly with the Texans. Zach Banner, formerly
Cannon's
with
not a bad-
Pittsburgh.
Cannon's
Brandon
not a bad
Shell.
option.
Who? Marcus Cannon?
He's younger, isn't he?
No, he's
Oh,
way
was he?
older. He's 34.
What? Oh, damn. That's the guy from New England, isn't it?
Last with Houston. Is the last
Last
team
with
he was with.
Houston. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I thought he was younger than that. Okay.
Zach Banner, last with Pittsburgh. Brandon
No.
Shell, last with Seattle.
No.
Kendall Lamb, last with Tennessee. Former Giant Mike Remmers, lastly with Kansas City.
No, my God.
He actually did a decent job with Kansas City after he left us, but I don't want him.
Yeah.
No.
And I'm looking
Good.
down this list now, like in terms of tackle, there's not really anybody.
I really think
Here,
we're gonna
yeah.
probably, if we're gonna add somebody, it'll be somebody that's currently on another team that gets cut late. It'll be something like that.
Yeah.
What were the names early on that you said?
So the early on names, and this is including just interior guys, Dwayne Brown, J.C. Treader, Brian Bulaga, Eric Flowers, Matt Paradis, Laurent Duvernay-Tardif, Eric Fisher, Daryl Williams, and Marcus Cannon. Those are like the early names.
Yeah.
And I know
oh,
Fisher
yeah.
had injury.
I would consider Bulaga. Bulaga's good. He's older, obviously, but you're not looking at that guy to start. So you're looking at that guy as being a swing tackle just in case something were to happen. I wouldn't mind Bulaga. I know he's coming off an injury, last with the Chargers, but he was great for a long time at right tackle.
Yeah, he
for
was
Green
with
Bay.
Green Bay for most of his
For a
career.
long,
Yeah.
he was pretty damn good next to Bakhtiari. So I would consider Bulaga. The only reason why Bulaga isn't in the Chargers right now is because they have two good tackles at Los Angeles right now, and they don't really need him. And he's coming off an injury. They just said goodbye. It's not that he's bad. So I would consider Bulaga at anybody there. So
They all suck.
they all do at this point.
But
But I mean, as a swing tackle, man.
I was about to
And
say, as a swing tackle, I
And
just
a
need you to
veteran
be
guy
average.
like
Yeah.
Bulaga can help AT, can help a young Evan Neal. I like Bulaga, man. I would definitely wouldn't mind bringing him in, obviously for a very cheap contract, not something that he's used to, because I mean, he's been one of the top right tackles in the league for a while. But I would definitely consider Bulaga.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
Yep.
then. Cool. Now, that's a nice little awkward silence. Everybody likes the little awkward silences. What are we talking
gotta
about,
have it.
man?
Gotta have it.
Yeah, it's not a stream without it. How you feel about the secondary, Tana? Because that's kind of been, I feel like, one of the biggest question marks. Essentially since Bradbury was gone.
I shouldn't say but it's definitely my biggest worry. It's definitely my biggest worry. Especially
I'm more. Yeah, I'm
with
just
Wink.
saying.
I know he's blitzing. You have to be able to cover. And now you're asking Adoree to be a 1. We brought him in to be a 2, and you're asking Robinson to play on the outside. We brought him in to be a slot. So we're thin. And
Backup slot at that.
and if one of those guys gets hurt, I mean, my God. So, yes, I would say the secondary this year is like the line for me last year. Like going into last year, I was like, oh my God, with the line. And I'm still not like in love with the line. I still think that there's definitely some growing to do, but once they were scrambling to pick up all those linemen like 2 weeks before the season started, you were like, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
And I'm not quite there on that level with the secondary, but I am definitely worried about it.
And let me hear your thoughts on. We talked about Adoree, so let me get Darnay, who's been having a great training camp in terms of start the first 4 days, 4 turnovers. I got to see him in person, and it's like he's still getting beaten quite a bit. So like he's
he looks
making
like
turnovers, but like he's also getting
yeah,
beaten by these wide receivers.
he's one of those guys like kind of like I'm not gonna compare him to this guy, but like kind of like roll with me here, like Trevon Diggs, right? Trevon Diggs got a lot of turnovers, but he would also allowed a lot of yardage, right? Darnay Holmes kind of looked like the same thing. A lot of clips that I'm seeing, a lot of highlight plays that I'm seeing from wide receivers are on Darnay Holmes. Look at guys like freaking Richie James out there. You know, a lot of these slot guys out there is doing, you know, putting in work on Darnay and just I think there was one today as well where it was Darnay Holmes in coverage. And I was like, oh damn. But I mean that's always but honestly, that's always been Darnay. I mean, Darnay's always allowed a lot of catches, and on top of that, he has a lot of problems with holding calls as well. So if he can like kind of balance that out with turnovers, I'll be okay because he only has like one career turnover, I think, right? Against Seattle, that one against Seattle, and that's it, right? And then he had one last year, but it got called back. I forgot what team it was. He had one last year. He got called back. But Darnay's not a guy to get a lot of turnovers, and he allows a lot of catches. I mean, we haven't seen anything different yet, except the fact that he was getting some turnovers in practice. If he could just negate all of those yards he's given up with turnovers, I'd be okay. I'd be okay with that. So yeah, I'm all right.
Go ahead, Chris. If anything, yeah.
As far as Darnay goes, I mean, yeah, it's been encouraging in the sense that he, you know, I think he created 4 turnovers, a turnover each in the first 4 practices.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, man.
I'm not gonna get too high on him. You know, he's still got a lot to prove before
right.
And that this guy could be a really good slot corner. So we'll see. But I do think he'll get the crack there. I think he's going to be the starting slot cornerback, and hopefully, you know, with Jerome Henderson back there, really good DBs coach, and in wing scheme, he could do a good job. But you know, again, much like I've said about Daniel Jones and every other player in the team, I'll believe it when I see it on Sundays. So we'll see. But yeah, I'm definitely concerned with the secondary. I'm not gonna sugarcoat that.
Yep. Let me hear your thoughts on Aaron Robinson. Somebody that I don't know how to feel about him going through camp
Me either,
yet.
man. It honestly makes me more nervous that he's actually like performing kind of well because it's kind of like raising
he's
my.
He's hit for me though. Like he's got beat a lot in practice too.
And he's another guy, man. Like a lot of people keep talking about him. Like if you look at a lot of these people who are covering training camp every day, they're like, oh, like Aaron Robinson is actually doing his best out there, and he's actually, even though he's getting called on, it's good in coverage, you know. But like it's like in the practice sort of atmosphere, I guess that's fine, but I'm not gonna come out here and say that Aaron Robinson is gonna be a freaking lockdown corner and during the season.
I just want him to be a satisfactory number 2.
Yeah, I just
don't get killed.
Right. If he can just be what Isaac Yiadom was, because Yiadom wasn't really that bad when he played with us. If he can be just an Isaac Yiadom, I'd be okay. You know, because Yiadom came
a little better than that.
A little better, but I'm not expecting much from Aaron, because Aaron Robinson was really supposed to be the backup freaking slot for us. I mean, you know, so he really wasn't really supposed to have a big role on this defense anyway when he was drafted, even though he was drafted kind of high. I just him as a second corner, I don't expect him off the rip in his first year to be, you know, anything better than Isaac Yiadom was. Yiadom wasn't terrible. He had a couple of passes deflections as well, had a big problem in the zone, but we're playing more man defense. Aaron Robinson is a man corner. I would expect him to be a little better than the Yiadom was, but like I said, as production goes, if he's anywhere close to like Yiadom, I guess I'd be okay with it. But he can't be anywhere close to like Corey Ballentine. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I want him to be. And also, when it comes to like the second corner spot, I'm really interested to see what Rodarius Williams is and what he's been doing, because he's someone I really like coming out of camp last season. He held his own with first team reps. He played preseason. He even played in games. Starting, I don't know if he started or he got a lot of reps as well.
Yeah.
And he actually held his own. I was actually really impressed with what I seen from Rodarius Williams. I haven't heard too much about him today. In camp, but I seen him in training camp. I mean, he's out there. So, I wouldn't be so sure that Aaron Robinson is locked up in that spot at 2. At the second cornerback spot. I would like to see if Rodarius Williams could compete. As we get into the preseason and we see these guys get more reps in the real game, and Rodarius starts to outperform a little bit. I could see Aaron Robinson's job not being too safe, because it's Aaron Robinson. So
Yeah, I still think Robinson will probably be the starter to start the year, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's a short leash. Like if he's getting exposed,
absolutely.
They could give the kid we drafted in the 3rd round a look too out there. So
yeah.
Don't forget now, my boy Cordell Flott. # fear the Flott, man. Fear the Flott, bro.
So we'll see. But I could see him getting some reps this year too, Flott, for sure.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a lot of rotating pieces when it comes
Evets,
to
I love you too, man.
Yeah, I love you too, Evets. Have a good one. Yeah, slow mode is still on, man. Listen, I know I saw somebody ask to turn it off, bro. I'm gonna keep it on for the rest of the stream just to be safe. Y'all don't know how persistent these trolls can be, man.
Oh, they're persistent.
They're very persistent. Why y'all think Tana hasn't done a call-in show in a minute, man? They last year, this one dude ruined it for everybody. Or was it the year before?
I actually had a couple video callers last night, but it wasn't like an organized call-in show. We took like 5 or 6 callers. But yeah, I don't do those call-in shows anymore because you get a lot of crazies, man.
Dude, those Skype days, man. When I used to do the call-in,
I had a guy show me his genitals.
Yeah, Mr. Johnny Sins was out here, man.
No, like actual genitals, not a picture.
Oh god. What the?
I deleted the stream. It was like,
oh my
and I'm gonna tell you what, man. Anybody that saw that stream?
Oh, I think I was in that stream actually. Yeah, I think I was in that one. Yeah.
Maybe you were. That was the last guy that should have ever shown his genitals, and he's lucky I deleted the stream. I did not know, and I'm not trying to be mean. I honestly, when I saw it, I'm like, in my head, I don't think I said it. I'm like, I did not know they made penises that small. It literally looked like an Audi belly button.
Oh, nah, bro.
I shit you not.
Oh god.
This man said an Audi belly button,
you should
bro.
Be ashamed of yourself. Oh my god. Oh god.
If you got that, what are you doing on the internet, man?
I know, man. Oh man. Nice.
All right. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure we covered everything with training camp. Before I end out the stream, though, and before I tell all y'all, I hope to see y'all at training camp next Tuesday, which I'm be there, and then at Fanfest this Friday. Shout out to my boss once again, bro. That man is super chill. Did not expect him to be so chill with it. We're gonna do just a quick little exercise here. KB, I'm actually let you do it because you were the one that did it with me. With KB says we're almost guaranteed to be an 8-win team this year when he goes through the schedule. Go ahead, man. Go ahead and share your screen and pull it up, man.
Oh, you want me to do it?
Yeah.
Oh, damn. You just put me on the spot like that. All right, cool. All right, so before we get into it, Chris, I'm pretty sure you went over the schedule just like everybody else did.
I think I remember it from.
I was one of the people, and Kush didn't believe me. I was one of the people that said, dude, no matter how you slice it, even if you think there's a 4-win team, you go through the schedule without counting your wins and losses right off the bat, and you go through it by the end, you're like, damn, we have 8 wins. Like, I know it's like, obviously what we say is not going to matter what happens on the field, but we look at the schedule, it's just that damn easy that even if you think this is a 4-win team, somehow you end up with 8, you know? So I guess we could do this exercise. I mean, let me pull up the schedule real quick.
I'll break down the schedule for you right now.
Sure.
First 6 games, I see 2-4. I'll give us a win against Carolina and Chicago. And if they lose one of those games, I'll give them an upset in one of the other 4. But I don't think we're beating Baltimore after we come back from London. I don't think we're beating the Packers in London. I don't love us against Dallas. And I don't love the matchup against Tennessee. So I got to start in 2-4. The next 4 games to me are the key to the season. That's our 4-game window. That's our opportunity because that's probably our 4 weakest games, arguably. Actually, Chicago's up there as well, but 4 very winnable games right in the middle of the schedule. I think it's the Lions, the Texans, the Jaguars, and who's the other team I'm forgetting?
Lions, Texans, Jaguars.
Lions, Texans, Jaguars.
Seahawks.
Okay.
I think. Yeah, so in those 4 games, they have to win at least 3. At least 3. And if they do that, they get to 5-5, and they give themselves an opportunity with their divisional games, coming up. So I've got them at 7 wins, but would I be shocked if we won 8? No, we play a really soft schedule, and there's a reason Vegas has us at 7.5. You know, everybody thinks that's crazy. Everybody
thinks it's too high. Yeah,
like, bet the under, but Vegas sees the schedule, and they're like, no. There's a reason that Daniel Jones is actually ranked by Vegas and they know a lot more than we do, as the third favorite to win Comeback Player of the Year. And Brian Dable is actually the second favorite to win Coach of the Year.
Can I be honest?
Yeah, I
What
know
is
to win
Daniel Jones?
to
What is
win
Daniel Jones
comeback
coming
player of
back
the year,
from?
you had to be at some. I think what they're
I
using it
agree.
as
I
is that
guess
they're
I
used.
guess because he got
Maybe
hurt.
because he was injured.
No, I would
yeah,
say
but,
they're probably also
same
using it
Andrew
as
Luck
like
we're
a
talking about.
stand-in. They're probably also using it as like a stand-in for most improved because the NFL doesn't have a most improved player of the year award, right?
Which they should.
They should, yeah.
Which they should. Most improved. I mean, you know how many players break out? Like, we have obviously a bigger volume of players in the NFL than the NBA does. And if you can stand out over all those players, you deserve to have a trophy if you're most improved, man. I would love a most improved award. But yeah, I kind of laughed at that because I saw that as well. The Daniel Jones, third to be comeback player. I'm like, besides injury, what is he really coming back from? And I'm not a Daniel Jones hater. I'm just like, I don't see it. Like, this isn't Andrew Luck we're talking about, where he's coming off an injury and Andrew Luck is freaking.
And it wasn't, yeah, like you said, it wasn't like like Saquon's injury, for example.
Right.
Dak's injury.
Mhm.
Like, it was
Like Saquon should probably be more for comeback, but player of the year, even though he came back last year.
I would actually put Saquon in there because he's dealt with injuries for the past 2 years, and
he hasn't been the same player.
He hasn't been the same. So yeah, I would.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Saquon's more deserving of consideration than Daniel Jones.
Mm-hmm. Vet said, "Bro, coming back from the war criminal Jason Garrett. Listen, that entire offense should win it then if they all succeed, bro. That entire offense was in shambles." Anyway, though, guys, I think I'm gonna end it out here. Let me get any last thoughts from the chat. Oh, well, it's on slow-mo, so I actually take that back. My bad, guys. Let me get last thoughts from KB, and then Tana, I'm gonna close it out. Go ahead, Kid Blue.
Yeah, to close it out, I'm
nice.
that at some point it's coming out strong. The offense is actually,
You
You're
completely cut out, but I think you start over what you were saying though, because like you cut out for a hot second.
I think your whole stream, your whole stream cut out for a second, but I think we're good now. Yeah, I'm just excited that at some point the offense starts to click sooner rather than later, because I was really starting to get worried about the offense. And a lot of people said that when it comes to new systems and new regimes, the defense usually starts off a lot better. So I'm glad to see it a little bit balanced out. I don't really have any glaring concerns as far as training camp goes right now. I know the secondary has been actually holding their own. I do worry about them in the regular season. But right now, I really don't have any big concerns. We haven't had any major injuries, thank God, cross our fingers. I'm pretty chill right now. I'm not stressed about this training camp, like other years. So, I don't think they're not hitting any of my expectations. I think they're actually doing a lot better than I thought right out the gate, especially coming from a new system. So I'm just excited for the preseason, man. I want to see these guys in action against people who aren't the Giants. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I definitely share your sentiment on that. Like right now, like I'm still pumped up about training camp. I'm looking forward to going to Fanfest. Looking forward to going again on Tuesday. But my mindset now is let's see these guys in an actual, even though it's a scrimmage, basically. Let's see these guys in a preseason game. That's where I'm at. Let's get to see these guys in a little bit of action. I'm pumped up for the year to start, man. The thing that I'm most excited about is the new look offense. If nothing else, I want to leave this year, even if we feel like we're going to be moving on from Jones, feeling like we've got an offensive coordinator that, or head coach, but a guy that is going to give us a lot of hope for the offense going forward. And I expect big changes from the Jason Garrett scheme. I'm just looking forward to putting some points on the board, not being as embarrassing as we were last year. I don't want to see, how the offense looked once. The offense wasn't good with Jones in there, but it was like, record-breaking bad when he went down. So the last 6 games last year were unwatchable. So I'm looking forward to having watchable football. And I can't wait for the season to get underway. But I appreciate you guys having me on. Had a lot of fun. Looking forward to getting you guys on the channel at some point as the season gets underway. And hopefully the Giants surprise us all and they win 10 or 11 games this year and we do some damage. We'll see.
We are all. I feel like every Giants fan should be praying just for success of the team, man. Let me not name players, but just pray for success of the team, man.
Says no more clown music, yeah.
And you guys said it all. I couldn't say it better. I just got to do one quick thing. I gotta plug some new stuff that I got going on, man.
Yes, sir, man. Plug
Listen,
it in,
man.
man.
I got as usual. Y'all know every year I come out with a couple of merches. This year I got 3 designs out right now. There's probably one more coming. I'm not sure yet. The first one is this Xavier Mckinney comic book tee. If you like it, go over there, support the channel.
That's cool, man.
Get it, man. The Ball Hog Xavier, the
You made
Battle of
that?
Year 3. Yeah, made this right here in
Wow.
Photoshop, man. All of these right here included this
boy.
big dog one with Aziz. Also made this one. I got inspired by this Bigfoot poster I saw, and I was like, instead of Bigfoot, it's gonna be the big dog of the football giants, and that's Aziz out there. And then this one is a little bit more of like a arty type of
Throwbacks.
sketch one, man.
Oh, that's the new one.
Yeah, there's a new one, man. A Young Joker season one with Kadarius just smiling, got NYC in the background, got the
Bro,
Statue of Liberty
that's
right
dope,
next to him,
bro.
man.
I ain't gonna front. That's freaking dope.
Listen, man, if y'all like it, go over there. These are the 3 new designs. And I have a Saquon one in the works. I've been trying to put the finishing touches on it for a while, and I'm not feeling it yet. So when I feel it, it's going to go up, and I'll let y'all know. But if you do like it, the link is in the description down below. I'm pretty sure, yep, the Teespring link is there. Once again, thank you, Chris, for coming on. Going to be very excited to see you Friday. See you again Tuesday. Be hopping on the channel whenever you decide to have us on. And shout out to the chat. You guys were amazing tonight. As I say all the time, the channel is not here without y'all. Us talking about the Giants is not here without y'all. Thank you so much for the support.
I just want to give a quick plug because I saw somebody in the chat mention it.
Go
I
ahead,
can't
man.
show it to you right now, Bookend. He says you got to make a Tana shirt. I've never been a guy that's really done a lot of merch, but I had a subscriber of mine that actually owns a company that makes T-shirts.
Oh, get on that, man.
Yeah, reach out to me, and he showed me a bunch of designs that actually, well, no, my phone's upstairs, so I can't show it to you, but it's a pretty cool design. I showed it on Twitter. I don't know when they're going to be out, but hopefully before the season starts, I'm going to have some.
How long has that been in the works for?
He reached out to me like a month ago. Actually, I could show it to you guys real quick. It's on my Twitter profile. Actually.
Oh yeah, just go ahead and do the share button thing.
A couple of samples to people on Twitter to see what people felt about it. Let me see if I can find it. I'll probably just type in "entertain a new merch" because that's what I tweeted out, and hopefully it pops up. But yeah, I think it looks cool. So, nah, that didn't. But I'm trying to remember. It sucks. I wish I had it. I wish I had a sample on me right now that I could just show you real quick. But it's on my Twitter page. Let me scroll down as quickly as I can. There's Eli. I tweet way too much. I took a break off from Twitter, and now I just tweet way too much.
It will be under the media section of your profile, right? That'll be the easiest way to find it.
Is that where it would be?
Yeah, the easiest way, if it's a picture, the media section.
Yeah, I'm not great with Twitter. All right, media. Okay, so anytime I drop the picture or meme, it'll pop up. Okay. All right, let me see if I can find it. Let me get past all these training camp tweets. Come on. It's got to be coming soon. Thibodeau, there I am at that training camp.
Oh yeah, that training camp picture has become a meme of you.
Yo, it went viral. This is going viral.
Yeah, that's gonna be a really popular meme this year for sure.
Oh, I saved it just in case I use it for a meme.
Yeah,
I saved it just in case I need it.
It's got to be coming up.
Damn.
It's because I didn't show the sample. There it is. I don't know how I show it to you, but it's on my page.
If you go back right here to StreamYard, you should have the share button available.
Oh, I can share it?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll share it. This is a sample of my merch. There's a couple of other designs. I don't know how many people are still in here. A lot of people probably left, but
we still got about 60 people in here.
This is a sample of my designs.
Sneak peek. You heard it. You see it here first, guys, on Young Guns.
Oh, that one's nice.
It says like the Entertainer Talking Sports there with like a New York ensemble. People like that one. I think that was the most popular one. And then, this is going to be like the red hoodie with the Entertainer Talking Sports.
Yeah, that's dope, man.
Then you're going to have a Stand Up New York. I think that's going to be on the back, and on the front, it's just going to have my logo and like the where like a breast pocket would be. It'll just be like my logo. And then in the back, it'll have that, the Stand Up New York. And then just a different sample of the blue and the red.
I definitely would agree with people. I think the first one is amazing because it could also be used for so much because you're not just Giants. Like you could change the color up, get the Knicks colors in there and it works too as well. Like that's probably the best one for sure.
That
Yeah,
was awesome.
he showed me a lot of other samples. Like he showed me Nick's colors, and so it's just fun. It's cool to. I've never done it, but it'll be cool to have my own merch. I'll probably wear it on some of the streams and stuff. So it'll be cool.
Mm-hmm.
I'm about to go on Twitter and say, "Yo, graphic designers, hit me up."
Y'all saw it here, man. Tana's showing us his merch. Go over there, cop it, support him. Or support mine as well, man. You know what I'm saying? Putting a lot of effort and work into that one.
Yes,
but guys, that's gonna be it for now. Thank you once again so much for tuning in. And we are gonna be out. Peace.